Hello, everybody, and welcome to Kajal's Healthy Kitchen. This is Kajal, and we've got Mindfully Polly with us. And on the other hand, we have got a very amazing surprise for you. A great person, a great healer, a great giver. And today we have got Vishal Shah with us here as a speaker. And we have got utmost gratitude to you, Vishal, for being here, taking your precious time in this amazing Mental Health Awareness Week.
Yeah, so Vish, you've got a really good talk lined up for us, haven't you? 5 steps to clear your past and create a bright future. So you're going to unlock some of that past that I'm dragging into the present, and it's stopping me from progressing forward in life. So thank you very much. Without further ado, I think we'll just get you to crack into it.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Lovely, guys. I mean, it's really an honor to be here with you guys. I just want to say thank you for, what you've been giving, to your audience and everybody who's watching. These 3 days are amazing. I've seen people come in, watch what you're doing. And like I just said before, you've been doing a marathon. So, really hats off to you. So, yeah, this when Polly and Kajal approached me and said, what would you like to talk about? I said, well, the best thing to do is to talk on the 5 steps to clear your past and create a bright future, because, we all want a bright future. Excuse me. So, I'll start off by, giving a short introduction to myself. So I do this kind of work, and it's been for the last 2 years that I've been doing this full time. And it was something that happened between the years 2012 and 2013, which completely changed my life. Just like how Polly has been explaining about how he went through this transformation himself about a year ago. This happened to me back then, and it was a life changer. I was in the corporate world working away, as we all do, in the 9-to-5 rut. And, there's this thing inside of me which was calling me and said, you're not supposed to be doing this. You're supposed to be doing something else. And I still didn't listen to it. Like people do, we don't actually listen to that, right? And I kept on changing jobs. I thought maybe it's a job, maybe it's this role that I'm in, maybe it's, so I kept on changing those roles, and it still didn't work. So eventually, come 2019, I said, right, I've got to throw in the towel, go in and try this out. And if it doesn't work, well, I'll have to go back. But I put in my 100%, and, here we are 2 years down the line, and really, really enjoying it, really wanting to help people out there, because all what we are doing, including Kajal and Polly, is, we're helping people alleviate their suffering. We've been through it ourselves, and we found a way out. So, why not help others? And that's why, I really, really appreciate you guys for what you're doing, and also for having me on today. Okay, so there's a little bit about myself. I've got, like Kajal, I'm actually from Kenya, born and raised there, and been here for about 25 years. You can now guess what my age is, right? And I've got 2 kids. I've got a beautiful wife. You may see the photos up there. The kids are a bit older now. My wife's, she's still 25. So, I'm going strong, right? She's listening to me right now. So, right. So this is what I really want to talk about is the 5 steps, right? And they're very, very easy steps that all of us can take in order to clear our past and create a bright future. Now, you might ask, why do we need to clear our past in order to create a bright future? Well, the thing is, right, we hold so many things, so many beliefs, so many limitations we have, so many thoughts that we have that come from our past, come from what we've been through. And because we hold all of those in our pretty much our unconscious mind, and we will talk about that, they tend to sabotage us. They tend to, put it that way, they tend to sabotage us. And that is why we need to clear our past, because if we clear our past, we are then able to really move forward in life do what we really want to do, and emerge as the true sovereign being that we are. Okay, so we'll go into the first step. The first step is all about discovering the symptoms. What are the symptoms? What are we looking for that we need to pay attention to in order to know that we are carrying within us something that is not working in our favor? Okay, so the first thing is, what kind of pain are you going through right now? That's the question you want to ask. So, once the audience is here, we've got a lovely audience, I think about 82 people watching us today. So I want them to just, make a note, if they've got a pen and paper handy right now, make a note of what kind of pain are you going through. And it could be physical pain, something that aches and pains that we have maybe in our shoulders, our knees, our, pelvic area, wherever that pain is, in our abdomen as well. Just be aware of that pain, okay? Now, pain also could be in relationships. And Kajal and Paulie have done amazing sessions on relationships. I've not been able to watch all of them, but the ones that I've watched, I was well amazed with. So relationships are a very good way of finding out where the issue is. So, and when I say relationships, it's especially the intimate relationships, because the platonic relationships we have, usually what we do is we wear this mask, and we are not our true selves. But when we are in an intimate relationship, that's the place where we kind of, after the honeymoon period, right? We are ourselves. Our true demons come out, actually, right? And this is where actually, the relationships, a lot of them go wrong. So, also write down, for the audience here, how is your intimate relationship? How is it with your partner? Are you in a good relationship, or maybe are you in a controlling relationship, or are you in a relationship where, initially the love was there, the connection was there, but you've lost that deep connection? Or are you in a relationship where there is no integrity, there may be cheating, etc. So just for your own sake, write this down in your notepads and pens, because you want to find out where you are at this stage. We're still discovering those symptoms, right? The final, actually the third one is the lack of purpose or passion in your life. So if you are, in a 9-to-5 job like I was, not really, loving my job, not really wanting to be there. I still don't know why I did an electronics and software engineering degree. I think it was because my friend was doing it, right? And I just followed him. So this is what you also want to know. Are you in your job happy? Where is it that you lack? What kind of purpose do you have, and what's your passion? What are you really passionate about? Something that you could go back to your childhood, something you really love doing, but how society kind of directs us and puts us in a way where we have to kind of follow what our parents say, or we have to basically follow what the society is trying to tell us. And unfortunately, we forget that talent, that creative part of us that we really loved, and we tend to put that on the back burner. So this is what I'd like to tell you is, get that, see if you can find out what your creative side is, okay? And the final symptom is, any health issues. So if you've got, for example, a lot of us, especially in the Asian community, have got blood pressure, diabetes, all of those health issues, especially the chronic ones, are the ones you're looking for, because like they say, 90% of illnesses and diseases that happen to us are psychosomatic. Over 90%, they come from our mind, they come from the stresses we've been through. So also pay note to that. Write down, maybe you have thyroid or, issues with your parathyroid, any of that. Just those are the symptoms that you're looking for. Now, the reason why, I want you to write those down, because at this stage, I want you to be aware of where you are. And this reflects in what you're holding in your unconscious mind, okay? Now, we'll go to the next step, which is, the unconscious mind. So once you've written down your symptoms, what is the unconscious mind? So the unconscious mind is what we have, which apparently is over 90% of our mind again. Okay, and this is what a lot of work that was done back in the days, late 1800s, early 1900s, by Sigmund Freud. He was a neurologist, an Austrian neurologist, and he talked a lot about the unconscious mind. Now, the unconscious mind, if you think, a lot of us think that this is our mind, this is where the mind is, where the brain and everything is. But the mind is actually this physical body, the whole of your body, including all the subtle bodies that we have. So, the emotional, the mental, and the spiritual body as well. Now, Sigmund Freud, did a lot of work in this area, and so did Carl Jung. Now, Carl Jung, a psychotherapist or psychologist, again in the same era, he talked about the unconscious mind. And in fact, I remember one of his quotes, which was, until you make your unconscious conscious, until you make your unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. And this is what a lot of us, especially in the Asian Indian community, we say, the word naseeb. So
yes.
This was meant to happen, right? Yeah. This was meant to happen. This was meant to take place, right, Kajol? And this is something that, we are actually sovereign beings, like I said, and we are so powerful that we can actually access this part of our mind and really create the future we want. So there's nothing, I strongly believe there's nothing like fate. I feel we are all creators. We are part of this amazing, universe, which is full of creation, and we are all creators, being able to create the life we want. Except that when we have those limitations, and that's what we're going to talk about, and how to clear them, those are the ones that are stopping us. Yeah. Okay, so that's the unconscious mind. So that's the second step. Understanding what is the unconscious mind. Now, if you imagine an iceberg with, the top part of the iceberg, which the top part actually represents the conscious mind. It is what is underneath, which is the part that we don't see. That's the unconscious mind. So you can liken the iceberg to the mind. The top part being, which is a very small part of the iceberg, is the conscious mind, the part that you actually can't see or you're not aware of. The thoughts, the feelings, the beliefs, the limitations that are in there. We're not even aware of those. Yeah. So the idea is to, access the unconscious mind, right? And work with that, because when you work with your unconscious mind, that's when, you're able to actually let go of those thoughts, feelings, and beliefs that you've been carrying for such a long time. Almost like how a ship is, right? And you've got those anchors, and unless you pull those anchors out, the ship, no matter how much throttle you give to the ship, it's not going to move forward, right? So the same way the unconscious mind has these limitations, which are your the anchors that keep it down, right? With that, we come to the third step, which is, finding your path of least resistance, right? So this is finding your path of least resistance in how you can access your unconscious mind. So let's say the mind is a glass of water, right? And at the bottom of the glass, you've got this gunk, or this, dirt, you may call it. So in order to bring it up, we give it a good shake, don't we? A glass of water, so that the dirt all rises. So in the same way, to access the unconscious mind, we need to access it and give it a good shake. Really give it a good shake. So we bring up all these limitations, all these beliefs that are affecting us, these thoughts and feelings. Now, the question is, how do you give that a good shake? right? So there are 5 ways, and these are mindfulness exercises, which the audience, I'm sure, must be aware of, yourselves as well. So these 5 mindfulness exercises help us to really give a good shape to that unconscious mind. One is mindfulness through sound. So, a lot of us do this chanting, mindfulness practices through, the simple one, which is the Om, which we do in all yoga practices, right? That gives the unconscious mind a very good shake, right? The second one is focus. So focusing, maybe we've probably began when we started meditating, focusing on a light, on a candle, so that again gives the unconscious mind a good shake. The third one is visualization and imagination, right? So these exercises through visualization, you can again give the unconscious mind a good shake. The fourth one is observation. So just purely through observation, you can actually change the way matter actually responds. I mean, this was actually proved in quantum physics. It's a very powerful exercise, which again can shake the unconscious mind. The fifth one is breathing. Breathing, again, a very powerful exercise. We all know how breath work can help us, and that too can shake the unconscious mind. Now, the key here is that, a lot of people get stuck here. So they try, maybe, they go to a yoga session or they go to a meditation session. They're primarily being asked to do visualization or and imagination, maybe. And they say, oh, this doesn't work for me, and give up. So the idea here is to look for which one of it works for you. So for example, for myself, when I started meditating, and I did this at the time when I was going through this dark phase, I did it for more than 6 months, for at least 2 hours a day. Now, when I started, and everyone told me, everyone's like, Vishal, start doing this breath work. And no matter how much I tried, breathing didn't work for me. I couldn't still my mind. I couldn't get in that space. But then somebody said, Vishal, try, sound, chanting, and visualization and imagination. So sometimes it could be a combination of both. So I started off with sound and chanting, and that worked like magic, just, listening to my own voice, the sound that was coming out from my mouth, and taking those words that were coming out. So that worked really well. So this is where I want the audience who is watching from home right now is to put down, you might have tried these 5 types of mindfulness exercises. Which one is for you, the one that works? Yeah. That's what I want you to put down. And if you haven't tried the 5 of them, do try them and see which one works for you. And you want to go for that. Nature shows us in many different ways. When we see the river going into the sea, right? The river will never go up the hill or over large rocks or anything like that, right? The river will always find a path of least resistance, right? It will go round the hill, it will go around, and you will never find a river that goes straight in. So this is the way, and it ends up in a place of abundance, and that's where we all want to end up. Abundance for us means lovely relationships, amazing health, stable finances, and all of that. So this is where we all want to go in, and this path of least resistance, your unconscious mind, is what we're looking for. Okay, this brings us to the 4th step, which is, now that we've given your unconscious mind a very good shake, now it's about going to the root of the problem. That is key, because we all do a lot of these things. For example, the healing that we do, giving energy, channeling it through, and through Reiki. We might be also giving, doing our daily affirmations, doing a lot of chakra work. We are quite familiar with all of this, right? But one thing I'd like to say here is all of that is very important, no doubt. But all of this is temporary, because you'll find this, that you might do a bit of chakra work, or you might do a bit of healing, and then the problem after a few days will come up again. Yeah. Or you might say your affirmations, and you'll be fine for the day. But the thing is, you'll have to keep on doing those affirmations every day. And what you really want is to go right to the root of the issue and really tackle it from there, because then you don't have to do any of these. Okay, so the idea is, it's like a boat, right? I'll give you a metaphor here. It's like a boat you've taken out in the sea, and there is a hole in the boat, right? And the water is coming in. So what you do initially is you plug that hole. So that the water stops coming in, right? And that for us is the healing, the affirmations, the chakra work, etc. Because temporarily, yes, it's amazing, it works. For you to get a chance to go back to shore and now change the boat, because you don't want to take a boat that's got a hole in it out into the sea again. So the idea of you going back onto the shore, this work helps. But once you're on the shore, you want to make that transformation. And this is what I'm going to share with you. So how do you get to the root of the problem? Okay, so first of all, we have to identify where are these issues in our lives coming from. Now, there are three main areas where they come from. One is our childhood traumas, the emotions, the experiences we've been through when we were children. As children, we are like sponges. We just take on a lot. Okay. The second thing is our past lives. We've also, if you believe in past lives, we've been through numerous past lives. We take on our emotions. We take on all of that gunk with us. And the third thing that we also get these experiences through is through our ancestry, right? That grandfather of ours or that grandmother of ours is still wanting to live through us. So we actually take on not only their looks, because we look like them, but we also take on their emotions. In fact, the other day I just worked with somebody else who had their aunt attached to them. So once we released her from her, she felt such a light feeling and such a amazing release. So this is how even ancestors work through us, because they don't want to leave us alone. So how then, once you know where it's coming from, now these are the methods you want to use, okay, to actually go to the root. One is you want to really connect to your body, and connecting to your body, especially that part of the mind where the issue is. For example, if it's your heart, connect to your heart. Speak to it, have a conversation with it. What does it want? What does it not like? Listen to it. It's just like a plant. When they say this a lot. When you grow a plant, if you talk to it, if you sing to it, the plant that you sing to and talk to will grow much better than the plant who is never seen or has been isolated, right? So that's one, connection. Two, observation. I already mentioned the method of observation. Search it up. Observation, I tell you, is a life changer. It has taken a lot of the ailments away from myself purely through observation, right? The third thing you want to do is alter your memory. Work through time and space. Alter your memory. Go back to your childhood. Alter the memory there. And we are all able to do this. This is where we all want to get to when we get into this, new density that's coming, right? The fourth thing we want to go into is ancestral healing. Just like the example I gave you. See what attachments you have to your ancestors. Okay, and the final thing, which is very important, is integration. Integration is so key, because when you integrate, what you do is, instead of seeking for everything outside of us, we seek for everything inside of us. And this is what a lot of self-development gurus have told us. Mahatma Gandhi said this, and he goes to, be the change you want to see in the world. We've got to change ourselves in order to see different experiences. Bob Proctor, whose program I was in about 2 years ago in Toronto, he said this. He said, everything is but a looking glass. He's got a whole chapter on it, right? And, because a looking glass is a mirror.
Yes.
So everything is but a looking glass. So whatever you're seeing as your experience is just a reflection of what is inside of you. So integration is a method that helps you go seek within that you are seeking on the outside. And once you seek that within, you kind of close the loop, and hey, you move towards completeness and wholeness. Okay. So that was the fourth step. And then the final step. Now, up until now, what we've done is we've really just laid the foundation. Just like when we're building something, we need to lay the foundation. A lot of us, we tend to jump that and we go straight into the building phase. But we need to really lay a strong foundation. And the building phase is about being aware of your dramas. We all play control dramas. And the way human beings do this is through being vampires. We suck the energies out of others through various subtle dramas that we play, right? And we've got to stop playing that. Once we stop playing those dramas, then our life really takes off. And then there's different ways. We've got abundance of energy. If we only knew how to connect to nature, if we are present when we go walk in a park and be there rather than thinking about what we're going to be doing or anything else, then we really get this abundance of energy that is available to us. So we've just got to tap into that. That's how you start your building phase. Also, access your intuition, your creative mind. This is where you gain clarity. What is it that you're supposed to be doing here on this planet? What is your purpose? What is your passion? And when you get that clarity through your own intuition, you know which way to go, whether it's a left or a right. Okay? Yeah. And this can be also through connecting with your higher self. We all have a higher self. When we connect to our higher self, again, that also guides us. What is it that we're actually supposed to be doing? Okay, so that's all about the building phase. Now, all of that I've shared with you today, it will help you not only just clear your past, but it will also help you create a bright future, because then you know where you're going to be going, how you're going to be living your life, what your purpose is, what your passion is, and then live a full life in that way. So those are the 5 steps. I hope you enjoyed it. Sorry guys, I'm over by 3 minutes. Okay. But I hope that's helped the audience understand the 5 steps to clearing your past and creating a brighter future.
Yeah, it's been wonderful, Vishal. You know what? I'm 100% with you and on everything you said. Absolutely spot on. And I think the audience, we had almost 90 to 100, over 100 people join us. And there are people who are at work who are going to catch up later. This video will be saved on this page forever. So whenever you feel like you need wisdom and, seeking that conscious and subconscious mind and, wanting to literally fly and float, this is the video to watch. And Vishal, tell us how people can reach out to you and your social media pages. Just let the audience know, please.
Sure. So they can reach out to me through Facebook Messenger. Just direct message me. I always answer back. I've got an email address which they can write an email, which is support@livewithmindfulness.com. I'll repeat again. So support@livewithmindfulness.com. Also, I've got my website, which is again, the same, which is www.livewithmindfulness.com, where I've got various programs where people can, just subscribe to my newsletter, etc., and reach out to me that way, and I'll be happy to respond.
Thank you so much, Vishal. You are wonderful. And we will want to work with you in the future as well, because you are very much of a like-minded person. And I know you can give so much to the people. People need this. People need this more now than ever before. And we're very happy.
Yeah, that's brilliant. You
You
pieced all the pieces of the jigsaw puzzle together. It was a big jumble in a box, and now all those pieces have come together beautifully. So thanks so much for talking us through that. Brilliant. Well done. Thank you.
Thank you, Vishal. And stay connected. Keep showering everybody with such wisdom, and blessings to you. Blessings to all of you who have joined us today. Much, much love to all.
Absolutely. You guys are doing an amazing job, like I said. Keep on doing that. All the strength and all the blessings go out to you too. and all the love, to you as well, to all the audience. Thank you so much.